Hey, it's Mac with PriceActionTradingSystem.com, and it's Thursday. It's October 30th. This will be our chart lesson for the day, and it is Thursday, so this will be our last chart lesson for the week. No chart lessons on Fridays, so we won't be back until Monday. A couple of interesting notations here on the daily chart. This is our daily chart with the envelope bands. We're still in overbought territory, but notice we did leave some of the, we're at least back inside the bands now. But notice that we bounced right off the midline of that channel, which is, I told you prices would likely come back to test that at a minimum. Uh, Another thing is there's the gap that was between these two, between the high of this bar and the low of this bar, and we didn't quite fill that gap. The high, well, the high on this bar is 68.41 and a quarter, and I believe the low is 68.51. So 9 points and 3 ticks still left to fill that gap. So maybe they'll call that close enough, and we'll, because notice once we touch that lower midline, we rallied considerably. We still closed down. It's still relatively bearish. It's kind of a neutral bar, but it was a fairly bearish day overall. But we did rally back some of it at the end of the day. Now we could turn back up here. We did get a close outside of this short-term green channel here. So we definitely have that close outside. Now you would expect prices to try a retest of these highs up here. So we could see this turn up, make a new high. It could be just by a tick or so. We could go all the way up to the upper trend line and then turn down. We could see it pull back and fill this gap and then continue higher. We just could chop sideways. I mean, we could do any of those things, but I was expecting prices to probably try to at least come back to this midline. And so far, that's held. Now, it doesn't mean tomorrow we won't push lower further still. So we'll see what tomorrow brings, but we could bounce now. Um, I think there's room to go higher now, but I'm not saying that's what's going to happen because we still didn't quite fill that gap. So we could trend on down and then turn back up. But my guess is if we're going to reach this upper trend channel line down through here, then we're probably going to bounce from here and go up and touch it, and then maybe turn down. So, but there it is on the daily chart. Let's flip over to the 2,000 tick chart, and you can see what it looks like. And we'll go through the trades. Okay, you can see how this played out. There was a two-tiered green channel working down. We did get a break here, and it took a while, but we moved all the way down and made a new low that was lower than the original low before we made the break. And then once we made that new low, we rallied out of there. Uh, in my opinion, there was the steeper down channel and then a little flatter down channel, downtrend channel, both of them being two-tiered. Uh, but both of those look valid. You're mostly going to have to play the smaller trends and channels and the more micro patterns within that. But this green trend line would have given you a good trading line, and then this one would have given you a good trading line here. But anyway, let's zoom in here and we'll go through these trades and we'll wrap this day up. All right, 7 o'clock came right down through here. I think it was about the third or fourth bar down. Yeah, there's 658, 704. So this bar right here, 7 o'clock happened. And we just continued lower. These are all just first entries all the way down here. And then finally you get a first entry, move up, and a second entry right there. And a very bearish bar right at the key entry point, or right at the EMA. We did pull back and test the midline right there again. I like going short there. Quick, easy scalp. You don't get much more out of it than that. And that's the first entry. And then you're just working sideways. We did get a triple test here on a failed breakout. Nice signal bar. There's not a lot of room to the support there, but we're in this big downtrend, and you just broke this channel, so you'd expect prices to make a new low here. So maybe you go short there. You'd be better off to wait on something better, but you just don't. I mean, if you don't enter there, you're not getting a chance, and so maybe you enter there. I think it's a little aggressive, but there's reasons to consider it. So Just depends on how you played it. But anyway, prices drop on down there, and then we just kind of chop sideways. Looks like we're maybe trying to put in a bottom down here. I don't like going long on any of these because you're going long right into the resistance, and we've been in a downtrend. So you're trying to pick a bottom here. But it does break out here. Notice we make a little higher low each time. This closes outside. You still got to go long right into that high, so I don't think it's worthwhile. But then you make another new high, and then you get a first entry, and this makes an equal low and a lower high. So that, a break above that is a second entry long. You start here and you get a first entry, then you pull back again. So a break above that's a second entry. I like that one. It somewhat confirms the trend line as well. And man, this thing's off to the races then. Unfortunately, you don't get much other chance. There is a second entry here, but it's right into a double top, way away from the EMA. I don't think you want to go long or short there. You can't go short either. And then finally, you get a triple test here. 1, 2, 3. And there's actually 2 legs back here. By the counts, it's not a second entry, but you can clearly see a leg down, correction, and another leg down. And it is, I think you can argue that's a triple test. I like going long there. And then when you make this higher low, definitely go long there if you weren't already long. And boom, off it goes. And we make a new high. Now you got the close outside on this channel working up. A couple legs to a new high. You're way away from the EMI. And right up here where your confirmed trend line is, you turn down again. So I like going short right there. You don't really get a lower high. Runs down here, fails out the bottom. That's just an inside bar. You're working back up, close outside, move up. It tries to move to a new high, and it just turns down right there at the where you get a 1, 2, 3 triple test. It's also a second entry short. You just need room to scalp out, and that's good for another quick, easy scalp. That's just a first entry, first entry, first entry. That's first entry, and then it turns back up. So a break below that bar is a second entry short. And it's a big bearish bar. That's a pretty good move down. There's another second entry here, but that's the one that's kind of in no man's land. We're not back to the trend line yet. It is off the EMA. I don't think the signal bar is perfect either. Does it close in the 1/3, lower 1/3? It's real close. Maybe you say, okay, you might argue for that to be green, but it's not an ideal trade for sure. We still don't have our new low in, and we're still in this channel. So even though you could argue maybe there's a triple test, I think you have to sit tight here. And you get a close outside here. There is a second entry long there, and there is room to scalp out there. But I'm just hesitant of it. I mean, we're in a big downtrend. Maybe you go long there. I would probably wait. Of course, you do reach the upper trend channel line now. It looks like it's going to turn down. And it just keeps working higher until it finally breaks out here. And so now you got a break of this green channel. And it just turns. And I really don't think you can go short up here. It's too much momentum into that bar. And you could easily get burned. So just wait for a lower high, which you don't get. It's running down, break outside, 2 legs to a new low. And I think here you need a higher low. There's too much stem there. And you get your higher low here. But again, it's too much stem. So although it did break lower first and turn up and go out the other side, because that's mostly bearish, you could enter that on the engulfing bar. Problem is we just had a breakout here and we don't have a new low in place. So you're kind of going against the flow expectations by going long right there if you went long. But because of the engulfing bar, you might pick that one. It's a possibility. I would just sit tight. Of course, we're trending up, close outside first entry, and there's a second entry long, and then a higher low. The problem is this bar doesn't qualify on the second entry, and then this higher low, you can't enter that on the engulfing bar, and it closes right into the highs. So no trade there. Runs back up, and we do make a top. It looks like a top up here, but I think you need a lower high here, and that comes here, and there's no trade there. This could be a reversal, but it's not really where you're looking for one. First entry, and then you get a first entry, second entry on a break below this bar, but I don't think that signal bar is good enough. And notice we run to a new low. Prices break lower and fail and turn up. I like going long on that one, although you're better off to wait on the higher low. You get a higher low here, but I don't like that signal bar, but it comes back and gives you another one here, and it's a good signal bar. I like going long there. And of course, it runs up and fails out the upper side. I didn't mark this. You really need a lower high, but you know, if you want to be real aggressive, maybe you take that. You can't take either one of these. They're both inside bars. And it does rock it up, close outside, move to a new high. Another attempt that fails and it turns down. And then we make two legs up to a new high again. But I just think that well, there's a double top here, but your signal bar is not good enough. There is also a hidden second entry in there, but you just can't go short right there. And this one, it actually gives you two legs back. We didn't quite get back to the key entry point. That doesn't, you know, being that close is probably close enough if you get a good setup. But you've only got a close outside and one leg up, so I just don't think you can go short there yet. It turns out to be a good move down. Close outside, then we're working back up here. Now notice what happens here. It's a leg down, first entry, second leg down. That's a second entry long when it breaks above that. You got plenty of room to get out. I like going long there, and then it turns right back down again. Unfortunately, you don't get a good short signal bar, and your lower high doesn't come to a way down here. And now you get a break of this down channel. You get a close outside and move to a new low, but again, signal bar is not good enough. Now you could look at this as a higher low, but you can't enter on the engulfing bar, and you don't want to be going long way up here. It would have worked fine, but the way it's set up, you just can't trade that. And then it comes back. First entry, pulls back, and a break above that bar is a second entry. I didn't mark this one at all because it's still in that down channel. So when you get this higher low right here with a nice signal bar, I like going long on a break above that bar. Of course, it runs up. It makes a triple test up here, but again, I don't think you want to go short on that bar. We're working down. And you do get a second entry here. Notice the first entry, and then a break below that bar is a second entry, but that bar is too neutral. And then we're chopping sideways. This is actually down here, not right there. And then we start working sideways. Notice we get a close outside. There's a hidden second entry there, but I think you need a lower high, which comes here. And if you got room, take it. And then you get a triple test down here, and you got room back. Take that one. You do end up with a failed breakout, but no setup. You get a lower high here. Again, I did not mark that one, but I think you could argue for it to at least be green. The key is, do you have enough room to scalp out? And I'm pretty sure there's room to scalp out there. As you can see, there's a little over 2 points there. Then we make another new low. Maybe you trade the failed breakout here. Again, you'd be better off to wait on the higher low, so I might mark that one green. And you get a higher low, but it's not a tradable one. But notice you're working up, close outside, first entry, and then you run up. So a break below that bar would be a second entry short. And then it looked like you were going to fail again. And but signal bar is not good enough. That's a first entry, first entry, first entry, second entry. So that is a second entry there. I didn't draw this trend line, but there's a trend line there. And notice the close outside. And we tried to make a new high and couldn't. So, but that's still a second entry short too. Notice first entry, second entry. It's an inside bar, but because it's a second entry and a lower high, and it's just like one tick difference there, I think you can take that trade. And of course, this runs down, makes another new low, and that's just the first entry, another low, and then we're working higher here. Notice you move up, you pull back. That's just the first entry. Pulls back again. So a break above that's a second entry, but you can't enter there. And it goes into 230, and it's too late to enter after that. So there it is. Really, I think what you have is 2 legs down here. Measure this first one, and then your second one. You can see we didn't quite get there on that last one. That usually will mean you're going to make a bigger move to the other direction. Um, but we'll have to see what happens. So, but there it is. A lot of this is choppy sideways stuff. This is a weak downtrend, so you could trade this both ways. It kind of picked up a little steam here, so maybe from here on you only go short. You can see we start to get mostly below the EMA after that. Here we're above it, below the EMA, above the EMA, below the EMA, above it, below it, above it, below it, above it, below it, above it, and then we're mostly below it going forward there. So anytime you're back and forth above that EMA, you can treat it like mixed trading and trade it both ways. Just make sure they're good setups. That's all. But anyway, there it is. That's going to wrap our week up. Again, no chart lessons on Fridays, so I'm going to try to get out here early tomorrow. So anyway, I hope you had a good trading week. We'll be back again to do it Monday. I'm done for today. I'm done for this week. This is Mac with PriceActionTradingSystem.com, and we'll see you next time.